Hello Aries, and welcome to your Lunar Cycle Insight video for the Lunar Cycle beginning on the 11th of August with the New Moon in Leo, partial Solar Eclipse, and culminating with the Virgo New Moon on the 9th of September. I can't believe it's going to be September soon already. This year has flown by despite the summer of intensity. So I am calling this lunar cycle the Great Unwinding, because this is the 4-week period where we will begin to see an unraveling of the energies that have been so tightly wound up all summer long, all of the things that have been held back, the things that have been unclear, can now start to move forward and slowly and steadily be integrated as we head to the equinox on the 21st of September. So that will be the autumn equinox for us here in the northern hemisphere, and the southern and the spring equinox for those of you in the southern hemisphere. So this is a really interesting lunar cycle and a much calmer one than the ones that we have been experiencing, really since May, when Uranus went into Taurus and at the Taurus new moon. So we can look forward to some calmer, more stabilizing times ahead, particularly as we approach the beginning of September and we move through Virgo season. So this new moon solar eclipse is going to take place in your 5th house, Aries, which is where the sun is currently transiting. It's where Mercury has been retrograde since last month. So this is one of the hot spots for you at this time. There's a lot of learning and growth coming through the Leo Aquarius axis for all of us. Particularly with that lunar eclipse in Aquarius that we had at the end of July. And this is the axis of individual creativity and service. Aquarius is the sign of the humanitarian. Leo's job is to authentically express itself, to share its gifts and talents, its creations with the world. And that lunar eclipse would have fell, where Mars has been retrograding in your 11th house, which is also connected with your friends, your hopes, your wishes, your dreams and visions, goals for the future. So it's been a really intense time for you, perhaps calling you to let go of some old ways of expressing yourself through your work, perhaps asking you to rework some of the big visions and goals that you have, Aries, because we know that you are in this cycle with Saturn also in your 10th house of, bringing your dreams into manifestation, of working on your career, of working on your purpose. And all of these energies that have been culminating through this cycle might have been calling you back to find joy in what you do, calling you back to serve, to offer your gifts and talents to the world from a space of joy. Perhaps there have been some creative projects or some alliances that have had to be re-examined, reworked over the past couple of weeks. Perhaps you have been completely rethinking the way that you express yourself in the world. And, these energies will reach culmination with the new moon solar eclipse in Leo on the 11th of August. And the house of Leo, the 5th house, also governs over things like romance, self-love, self-worth and abundance. So it's likely that you have been, with Mercury retrograding here, really reviewing and doing some deep internal processing around these parts of your life, Aries. Perhaps you have had a little bit of a creative block. Perhaps you've just felt like you wanted to turn inwards and do the inner work at this time rather than putting your offerings out into the world. Perhaps you've had to revisit some old pain in relation to romance, to love, to opening your heart. And, you know, perhaps you have had to rethink the ways that you are sharing your gifts and talents. You know, these energies have also been in square to Uranus in your second house. So perhaps you have been thinking about how you value yourself and what you put out into the world. So all of these energies can come to a head around the time of this eclipse. We'll really start to see some clarity around these issues, you know, and as Mercury also begins to move direct from the 19th of August, all of the work you've been doing, all of the internal processing, all of the clearing, all of the rewiring, all of the really looking within and asking yourself how worthy you feel of receiving all of these good things, all of the love, all of the romance, all of the abundance that life has to offer you. All of the work you've been doing will start to integrate into your physical reality, and you'll start to see some rewards. Things will start to move forward for you, and a new moon is always a new beginning. And although I don't really recommend setting intentions on eclipses, because the cosmic energies are a little bit all over the place and we can often manifest things that need to be, and particularly with Mercury retrograde as well, that need to be revisited and reworked afterwards, it does offer you a new portal opening for growth in these areas of your birth chart. So it's really important for you to be open to receiving whatever comes through for you at this time. And as Mercury stations direct on the 19th in this space of your birth chart, we also have a trine forming again between Jupiter and Neptune. And you might remember this energy from throughout July and June as Venus and the Sun moved through Cancer. They created a beautiful harmonious water trine with Jupiter and Neptune. So these two cosmic benefactors are coming into alignment again this month, and they will be linking your 8th house of deep soul diving, of intimacy, the Scorpio house, with your 12th house, the Pisces house of the zodiac. So we can really see around the time that Mercury stations direct some wonderful healing insights and intuitions pouring through for you. Perhaps you get some extra celestial help to open your heart. Perhaps there's a insight or an intuition or a dream or a vision that is gifted to you that helps to propel you forward on your healing journey. Perhaps your intimate relationships start to flow more beautifully after this period as well. So it's really nice to have a cosmic boost around the time that Mercury stations, because we know that although he is going to be moving direct from this point onwards, when he stations, he's at a standstill and he's at his slowest. So sometimes the energy can be even stickier around that period. So it's an interesting time. And for you, those are quite internal, quite private houses of your birth chart, the 8th and the 12th. So you may need, again, to allow yourself space to meditate, to come back into alignment with yourself so you can receive what the cosmos is offering to you. So the Sun moves into Virgo on the 23rd of August. So this is a beautiful energy. The Sun, the soul star, comes into your 6th house and immediately comes into a trine with Saturn in your 10th house and Uranus in your 2nd house. So you have this beautiful earth trine flowing through your houses of physical manifestation, of resources and finances, of work and career, of day-to-day routines and daily structures that support your purpose in the sign of Virgo, who is very, very productive and also very work orientated. So this is a time when you might be able to start to ground all of the insights, all of the downloads that you've been receiving as we've moved through the eclipse portal, as we've moved through the Lion's Gate. You can start to now bring the visions that you've received into physical reality. You may have been doing some hard work, Aries, realigning your goals and your relationships with what feels true and authentic to you. And this is the time when you can be rewarded. Perhaps there's a new tangible physical opportunity to create abundance that is offered to you at this time. Perhaps there's some kind of boost or windfall in your finances, some kind of recognition you get for the hard work that you've been putting into your career and your offerings into the world. So this is a really beautiful energy, and this initiates, like I said, the sun moving into your 6th house. So this is a period for you of purification as we head towards the equinox on the 21st of September. The 6th house, it governs over our day-to-day work and routines, but it also governs over other practical matters that we have to tend to when we're in a physical body, such as our health, how organized we are, and when the sun moves through this area of our birth chart, we can feel the need to really purify, to declutter. So, we're sensing the change in energy, we're sensing the change in season, in the southern hemisphere, you're coming to the spring, the blossoming. In the northern hemisphere, we're going into the darkness of the autumn time. So this is a great time to start clearing out all of the old, everything you don't want to take forward into the next 6-month cycle. Perhaps you'll need to detoxify your body as well. Perhaps there may be some health issues that crop up that call you to start a new exercise or health regime. Perhaps all of the new opportunities that are coming into you are calling you to become more organized in the way that you manage your time and energy throughout the day. Perhaps, you need to set yourself a schedule or engage in some active discipline or devotion that helps you to restructure your life in a more positive and productive way. So it's a beautiful shift in energy, and it feels like it's going to be very stabilizing. It's going to soothe our frazzled nerves and mind after the electricity of all of the Uranian energy and the fire of Leo. So it's a beautiful shift that we can all look forward to. On the 27th of August, Mars stations direct. Now, just after the new moon solar eclipse in Leo on the 11th of August, Mars will have shifted back into Capricorn. Most of his retrograde journey has been in Aquarius, in your 11th house of higher vision and humanitarianism, friendship circles and networks. But he will be spending, I think, just under 2 weeks back in Capricorn, and he will actually station direct in Capricorn as well. So this energy can ask us to revisit the goals and intentions about our career and our purpose that we set into motion earlier this year, back in May time, and specifically between the 11th and 16th of May, which was the last time that Mars was going over these degrees. So if you've been dealing with some issues in your work, perhaps you've had some issues with authority or government, or some issues with patriarchal energies in some way. This can be the time when a resolution comes, when things are able to be seen more clearly. And as Mars picks up speed and begins to move forward, all of that energy that has been internalized over the past cycle while Mars has been retrograde can now start to move forward. And the visual I receive for this is, you know, for us Aries, Mars is our ruling planet. So as he's been retrograde in the skies, you know, it's almost been like a bow pulling itself back, you know, that energy of tension before the arrow is released. And as he starts to move forward again, you know, it'll take him a little while to pick up speed, and he'll still be in his retrograde shadow until October. He's going to be squaring Uranus again. He's going to be conjunct in the node again. But all of this energy that's been held back, almost restrained like a horse chomping at the bit, can now shoot forward. And all of the inner work that we've been doing, all of the liberating ourselves from the people, from the visions, from the energies that kept us stuck in our old reality, can now start to move forward. We'll start to see the results. Anything that's felt like it's been taking so much time, so much energy, you know, you'll now start to see the results of all of that extra time and effort you've been expending, Aries. And for you, you know, this can be a real moment of reclaiming your power, reclaiming your energy. Because I don't know about you, but I've been joking, you know, over the past couple of months saying, oh, you know, with Mars retrograde, this must be what it feels like to not be an Aries and to not be always pushing forward and initiating the new. So now we can kind of reclaim our fire, reclaim our Ariesness, and, you know, reap the benefits of all of the work that we've been putting in to this area of our lives. So physical, tangible manifestations of success, opportunities, you know, new frequencies, new connections, new people coming in. So that's a beautiful energy. And then we have some even more beautiful news, because as we head into September, on the 6th of September, Saturn, the cosmic taskmaster, who's also been in our 10th house, so you can see, Aries, that there is this huge focus on us building our dreams and manifestations in the world at this time. And as Saturn stations direct in our 10th house, again, you know, this is another energy of karmic reward, all of the work that you've been doing, all of the effort you've been putting in, you know, and it might feel like you're climbing a mountain in your work, in your career, in your vocation at this time, Aries. And as Saturn, you know, slowly picks up speed, begins to move forward, again, you know, it's this energy of bounty, of harvest, of reaping what we have sown. So it's a lovely, lovely time for us as we head into the darker months. And for those of you who have your sun or your rising sign in the first few degrees of Aries, Saturn would have been squaring your sun during his retrograde period as well. And now as he moves forward, you know, it's almost like a double dose of reward for you, because you have been taking responsibility for yourself. You have been learning discipline, learning structure, learning how to manage your time and energy on a very, very deep level. You know, perhaps you felt heavy or overburdened or stressed out, you know, worried about finances, worried about where your career's going. And now this can all start to clear, you know, it's almost like the pathway opens for you, the golden gateway opens, and we just have to walk through. So on the 9th of September, we're in September now, we will have the Virgo New Moon, which will bring culmination to this lunar cycle. And The Virgo Pisces axis will be very highlighted at this time. The full moon at the end of August will also be in Pisces, and that will also highlight the 6th and 12th house axis of your birth chart that will be reactivated with this Virgo moon. And these are the houses in your birth chart, Aries, of service and sacrifice, of fantasy and practicality, the spiritual, the physical, the sublime and the mundane. So these energies will be asking you to come back into balance in these areas of your life. Again, highlighting that energy of doing the things you love out of a heart full of service, full of devotion. And if you are an Aries that tends to provide, protect, look after your loved ones, you know, perhaps you really give a lot of yourself, give a lot of your time and energy to the point where you self-sacrifice or self-sabotage, then this energy can also really highlight that and ask you to reassess your boundaries and the way that you give your time and energy to the world. And it will also be calling you to balance those physical and those spiritual and practical sides of yourself too, Aries. So looking at how you can balance out your need for soul connection, for merging with the divine, with your day-to-day tasks and the reality that we all have to live in. So if things have got a bit chaotic, this Virgo moon is a perfect time to set into motion a new routine, a new system of order. And, you know, for you to decide the next 6 months of my life, I'm going to discipline myself. I'm going to devote myself to doing things in ways that serve my soul. I'm going to call back my power. I'm going to call back my time and energy so I can act on and really engage fully in the opportunities that are coming to me in the areas of career. And perhaps some of you, you know, you will even find that a new love or a new intimate partner walks into your life after Mercury finishes up his retrograde journey in your 5th house as well. So it's about, you know, reassessing what's important to you, particularly as your ruling planet starts to gather up speed again. So it's a very, very exciting month for us, Aries. You know, we're one of the signs that have been having it quite tough cosmically this year. So I also picked us a card. Mnemosyne, who is a Titaness. She is the daughter of Gaia and Uranus. So again, it's that kind of marriage of the cosmos and the earth. This card is from the Mythic Oracle. And who are these cards by? I'll have to put that in the comments because I can't find the name of the author on the box. But they are the Mythic Oracle, and they are very connected with Greek mythology, which is where, of course, a lot of the astrological archetypes are embedded as well. So Mnemosyne is the bringer of inspiration. She gave birth to the 9 muses. And I don't know whether you can see on the card there, but she has this beautiful kind of golden leonine light. And there are some beautiful butterflies and flowers in this stream of energy, but also the astrological symbols. And one of them is Virgo, which is perfect. And to me, this really feels like we are being gifted with renewed creativity, renewed inspiration, renewed purpose to move ahead. Now Mercury has finished his retrograde sojourn in our 5th house. So be prepared, Aries, for a download of insight, and be ready to ground it in ways that can serve you financially as well. Be open to the abundance that is coming to you on all levels, and take the rewards because you've been working so hard to free yourself from old patterns and old karma. If you would like to connect with me further, there will be the links to my Facebook page and group below this video, and you can also reach out to me for personal readings if you feel to do so. I'm sending you so much love and blessings for this abundant lunar cycle.